What would be one message you would like to give Indian IVD companies? What they can do better to support laboratories?
I think that they should make it a habit that they should visit the client. They should stay in touch with the client on a regular manner. If you are in touch with the client के दिमाग में रहता है जो दिखता है वो दिखता है.
So now I would like to know from you as for Athens DX perspective. Now, how is your association with Athens DX? Because you have been associated for quite a time. So how's your experience with that?
So as far it's a very good experience with Athletes DX. I still remember, I think 2 years after I opened my lab, I was looking for an ELISA reader. So some friend of mine from blood bank industry, he told me that you should go for this company. It's a very good brand. So I called the salesperson from your company. He was pertinent enough to come on the next day, and I think the deal was finalized then and there. So I bought an ELISA reader, I had a washer, and till now I had that reader washer.
Yes.
So I'm so happy, and the service part is also very good. I think your existing customers are your gold mine, and most of the salespeople they forget that कि सामान बेचा और आगे follow up नहीं कर. But if we stay in touch with them, they become the source of referral for the clients for you. If you provide them post installation good service, it is like you need not go to a new client. The existing client will refer you to 5 more clients, and that has happened with me. I always refer Athens to other clients. My peers, they come to my lab and they say, "Yeah, what ELISA you are using?" And I always refer to it's a very good company, and the machine is doing so well. So you should go. We have done inter-company comparison also. It's not like.
So you're happy with your quality?
Yes.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to another inspiring episode of Lab Leaders Unplugged. Real conversation, real insight, real impact. The podcast where we bring you conversation with the people shaping the future of diagnostic, laboratory medicine, and healthcare. Imagine being the doctor whose work influences thousands of treatments every month, yet whose face most of the patients never see. Yes, this is the fascinating world of pathology. So today we are joined by a leader who has dedicated more than 15 years of his journey to diagnose diseases. He is the CEO and consultant pathologist at Dr. Vaibhav's Pathocity Path Lab and Imagine LLP. He is an alumnus of Maulana Azad Medical College and University College of Medical Science, two of India's most prestigious medical institutions. So without further delay, let's welcome our guest, Dr. Vaibhav Girotra. Hello, sir. Welcome to Lab Leaders Unplugged. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and it's a pleasure for us to have you here.
Thank you, Ankita, for inviting me here. I have been following your podcast for quite some time and quite impressed with it. I'm so thrilled to be a part of it.
Okay, that's really good feedback, sir. So I would like to start with your journey. Every journey starts with success or one decision. So when most medical students, they try to choose a surgeon division or they want to be a physician, what inspired you to choose pathology?
It's a very good question. So you're right that I also wanted to take medicine or surgery for that matter. Then I cleared the PG entrance. But when I entered into this world of pathology, it quite fascinated me. When I saw that pathologists, they are sitting at the gold standard of diagnosis. That means they are the end point of diagnosis for everything. We are like detectives of medicine. We diagnose, we solve the query for every patient. So we solve the history. So that is what that fascinated me.
Okay.
And we are like behind the scene directors of a film. Your patients are the frontline heroes of the film, but we are happy to be there as directors.
That's really a very inspiring thought you shared. Like the full concept of pathology, people are not aware. So physicians, everyone know, clinicians, everyone know. But what is the role of pathology? Very beautifully you have explained. That's really nice, sir. So moving forward, I would like to just know: is there any case during your training it was there which inspired you to understand or mark like this is the one thing which exactly I want to do, like pathology? Because of that, I choose the pathology.
So there have been many cases when I was doing my MD from UCMS.
Okay.
But if you want me to mention a few cases, there was a female with breast lump, and we do FNET, that is fine needle aspiration cytology, that
Okay.
pathologist does. We take out, we put in the needle in a lump, we take out the cells, we analyze it under the microscope, and we then and there we tell it whether it is a cancer or not.
Oh.
So the turnaround time of that report is around 3 to 7 days. That is a revolutionary test by which, with the help of a needle, with minimal pain, we can tell whether the lump is a cancer or not. So there was female, 2 years of age, and she was on ultrasound of breast. She was diagnosed as suspicious of malignancy.
Okay.
And when I met her, so it is not about meeting the patient, doing the procedure. It is also about the counseling of the patient. So she was standing with her husband. She came with her husband, and both of them were very emotionally upset, which is a natural emotional response of any female who is diagnosed with a breast lump. So we talked for around 5 to 10 minutes. I counseled her, and after examining her, I assured her that to me it looks like a benign, which is a non-cancerous state.
Okay.
So she got the procedure done from me, and it came out to be non-cancerous, benign. And when she came for the report, she made it a point that she'll talk to me. And she was like, "कि, डॉक्टर साहब आपकी रिपोर्ट सही भी है कि नहीं?" Because I was like more than 99% sure after the radiology report that it is a cancerous thing. So I showed her that you can take the slides.
Okay, that's really inspiring when you had the trust on your diagnosis, so which led her to further go with her treatment. That's a good story, sir. So now I just want to understand: most patients never meet their pathologist. So what work you do, it is not recognized.
Right now, if you ask me, I don't feel like that.
Okay.
I'll tell you later why I'm saying so. But yes, pathologist work in our country is underestimated because, as I said before, it's a paralegal branch, and we are like behind the scene doctors. We are invisible doctors. Patient, they never get to meet us. So it is an underestimated branch of medicine. But at the same time, one has to realize that they should utilize their power of being a pathologist. So for us, it's a very powerful branch, if you ask me.
Okay.
I make it sure that after each and every report of that we give it to the patient comes and talks to us. If the patient is not able to come, we talk to them telephonically and we consult them regarding only the pathological interpretation of the report. Many of the patients, they ask me, "Ki, sir, मेरा HbA1c high आया for the first time." So the patient was in shock. So ये मेरे को sugar कैसे हो गया? So we talk to the patient. We make it a point कि when the patient knows about this for the first time, कि मेरी report normal है, we give a call to the patient कि sir, doctor से आपको बात कर रही हूँ. If the patient is ready to talk to us, we talk to the patient. And that is the power of a pathologist, because he's the one who has seen the report, he has run the test in front of his eyes, and he's the right person to give confidence with responsibility to the patient, with whole compassion to the patient, that yes, the report is correct and your report is at home.
Yeah, so you believe if as a pathologist you must take that responsibility to meet your visit. That's very well said, sir. As now we know that you're not only working with a sting, you have your own pathology. So your journey from doctor to entrepreneur, we would like to discuss that. While becoming a pathologist, it was a different challenge, but running a lab or business, that's a entirely different setup. So when you decided instead of working for someone, you or stabilize your own laboratory, what was the thought behind this?
Again, a very good question. So there's a short story behind it. When I was in MBBS second year, my father got his retirement from the government job. So I come from a family where everyone thinks that government job is the ultimate thing that one should get.
Yeah,
And other but
if I'm not wrong, in India, specifically
yes,
to North
everyone thinks
India,
like that.
government job is everything.
Yes, if अगर आपने government job मिल गई तो आपकी
Life
life settled है, right?
Yes.
So I come from that background only. So my father got retired when I was in second year of MBBS, and that was a point when I asked my father, "Papa, अब क्या करूँगा?" He said, "कि I'll sit at home and I'll enjoy my life. I work for the goals of my life." I said, "कि no, Papa. If you sit at home, you'll become more older,
Yeah.
right? In front of TV and reading newspaper. This is not the life I want for you. We should open something." So I helped him to open a stationery shop. So he had a small shop. He opened a stationery shop. So after every class of mine from MBBS time, like 4 o'clock, I used to be free. So I used to come and sit with you during my MBBS days. And I realized that I am, I was liking sitting at that stationery shop. I was liking interacting with the clients. Even if I'm selling a copy, I was so happy. I was elated, but my father was not happy. So, so that was the point when I realized that there is a sort of business appeal I need. So that was the starting point.
Okay, sir. So, moving next, I would like to know from you what was the initial challenges when you started your own business? What was the initial challenges you faced, or whether it was with investment or building trust with the people, because the sector we are, trust matters most, or stabilizing a team, technology? What was your major difficulties you faced start in initial days?
Absolutely, you have already mentioned few important points that are any entrepreneur he faces. So initially, when I started my lab, I thought I'm a pathologist and I'm a doctor, so I'll manage everything. But it was not that easy. I opened a small room, 120 square feet, the size of that, and there were two rooms. One was a lab inside, and one was the reception. And there were two technicians, but uh, it was very difficult from HR point of view. Also, okay, the technicians they used to take leave without informing me. They were not efficient. I thought everything. So it a small thing like sometimes the technician was late, and I used to run on a bike and open the shutter of the lab. Again, coming to the reporting, initially the investment was too much for me.
Okay.
For a pathologist, it was like I am a first generation pathologist. So whatever I had, 10 lakh rupees, I invested everything in the lab, in buying the machine and the infrastructure of the lab. So, and it was like in the beginning, it was not the like in the profitable stage.
Okay.
So I learned leadership skills. I learned HR. I learned being compassionate, more compassionate to the patient. I became a very good listener after I opened my own setups.
Okay.
These are the things. There are many other things that I learned.
It was a roller coaster ride for you.
Yeah.
It developed a lot of patience also.
Yeah.
That's really so. Looking back today, now you have experienced both. So, which journey was difficult? Becoming a doctor or becoming an entrepreneur, setting your own setup, and now happily you are into that. So, what was more difficult?
I think to answer this question, there's no comparison between a doctor and an entrepreneur generally.
Okay.
I am right now, I have completed my doctorship. So I'm a doctor right now, but I'm in the process of learning how to become a better version of an entrepreneur every day. So doctor means you have to like doctory MBBS NDA taught me how to correctly diagnose a disease, right? Entrepreneurship, as I told you, it has taught me how to become a better leader, how to become a better administrator, how to do a proper HR, how to do many other tasks in my life in a better way. So both the things you cannot compare. Both are important, and it has to be a balanced approach for a pathologist who's running his lab. The approach should be balanced. He should be a doctor at the same time. He should be a good businessman. Should be a good entrepreneur.
Agree. So, as you have already mentioned, sir, you have learned a lot with this. So now you're not only a pathologist, you are a leader, you are managing a technology, you're managing a team. Also, you have to fulfill the patient expectation. So, what this leadership has taught you, which you could not learn in the medical college or anywhere, what this leadership journey have taught you so far?
So leadership has taught me a lot of things, and it has been like more than 8 years since I opened my lab. So, like in small capsules, this entrepreneurship journey, leadership journey has taught me a lot of things. But one has to be really patient with the stuff. Your team is the most important thing for you, right? It is not only the pathologist, the lab owner who is giving the report to the patient. It is also the receptionist, patient experience, the home culture staff,
Correct.
like the field boys who are like collecting samples from the doctors, the technical part, the technicians. So the report that the patient gets, the experience, the customer experience that we give to the patients, it is a summation of all these things. Pathologist is only like 1/10 of uh, the thing that patient gets. So being a leader, I realize this, and also I realize one has to be like a giver first. Mm, one is to lead by example, right? One is to give first. Your staff are like your children. You have to treat them like your children. They can make mistake, and they can be also rude to you, but you don't have to reward them in the same way. Exactly. So you have to treat them like your family. If you treat them like a family, they will treat like they will respond the same way.
Exactly.
So
So,
whereas
if you summarize, it's like you learn to believe in people than in process. Okay, that's a good learning, sir. Sir, in today's competitive diagnostic market, it is very competitive, even for the company, similar for you for a pathology. How you differentiate your setup, your laboratories for from hundred of others, which is now present in the market?
ours is a standalone laboratory which is driven by two pathologists, me and my wife. So our USP, you can say, the selling point is us.
Okay.
So we as doctors, as I told you, we excite the power of being a pathologist.
Okay.
So we make it sure that moment the patient enters to a lab, they uh, they get the proper experience. They get to meet the doctor.
Okay.
If they want to ask anything about the test or the packages, they can very well go to the doctor's chamber. And the doctor's chamber is just beside the reception. It's a glass chamber. That is our USP. Patient can, transparency is our USP. Patient can very well walk into the chamber and talk to the doctor. Doctors are available around the clock at all the time. The lab is working. So,
That help you to differentiate some.
and also post report. The patient, if they have any doubt in the report, they can very well teach up with us and we guide them about the interpretation in the report. So that is our USP, that it's a doctor's driven diagnostic center. It is not just another lab. We, if we get a patient having high thyroid or anything which is abnormal, which is like going to change the life of the patient, we always call the patient and correlate the reports clinically with the clinical situation of the patient. It's not like ki machine ne report nikali and we just gave it to the patient without checking the. So here, every report is checked by a doctor.
Clinical correlation is important for
After clinical correlation. So it's a very personalized, you can say, a wholesome diagnostic center. Personalized sensor.
So now I would like to know from you as for Athens DX perspective. Now, how is your association with the Athens DX? Because you have been associated for quite a time. So how's your experience with them?
So far it's a very good experience with Athletes DX. I still remember, I think 2 years after I opened my lab, I was looking for an ELISA reader because my load was not too much. And I was like adamant that I want to start all the hormones, vitamins, everything on an ELISA reader.
Okay.
So some friend of mine from blood bank industry, he told me that you should go for this company. It's a very good brand. So I called the salesperson from your company. He was very He was pertinent enough to come on the next day, and I think the deal was finalized then and there. So I bought an ELISA reader, ELISA washer, and I still now I had that reader washer. And till now, in spite of starting everything on Clear, I am a few parameters I'm doing on ELISA. Yes, I'm so happy, and the service part is also very good. And whenever I call the team is always there. Okay.
So, as you mentioned, service. So, according to you, in our industry, IVD industry specifically, after sales, service is how much important for you? Like, what preference you give to service?
So what I believe is the post installation part is more important than the pre-installation. Okay, and it's not about the IoT industry. It is about the all the service industries. I think your existing customers are your gold mine, and most of the sales people they forget that कि सामान बेचा आगे follow up नहीं करते. But if we like stay in touch with them, and they become the source of referral for the clients for you. If you provide them post installation good service, it is like you need not go to a new client. The existing client will refer you to five more clients, and that has happened with me. I always refer like SMEs to other clients. They my peers they come to my lab and they say, "Yeah, your what ELISA you are using," and I always refer to it's a very good company, and the machine is doing so well. So you should go. Along with the ELISA, we are also using rapid diagnostic kits
Okay.
like HIV, dengue. Okay. We were here happy with that. We have done inter company comparison also. It's not like
So, you're happy with the
yes,
quality.
yes.
That's some good feedback, sir. We are great to know. One suggestion you would like to give to Acme's DX for their future, what else they should do?
I think they should extend their menu of
Okay.
new machines. They should come out with more machines in CLIA platform or like maternal markers. Because it's a good company, I have also like got to know that it's like this company believes in Make in India also. It's a Chennai-based company, and they are like believing in Make in India. So, more they extend their menu, the more it will be easy for the client to stick only to this company.
Exactly, sir. That's a really nice suggestion. I'm surely confident that they will take this feedback. So now we will move to our next segment, sir. What really inside a lab? No general audience, they don't know about this. So now let's take our viewer behind the scene in the laboratory. What happens? Most people believe that giving a blood sample is enough for a testing. So, can you explain what actually happened once a patient hand over their sample to a lab? What happened with that sample and before the reporting? What are the processes generally it go through?
Giving sample to a phlebotomist is like 5% of the whole task.
Correct.
When the sample arrives at our lab, like I'm talking about home collection cases. So first, our first priority is to check the integrity of the sample. Okay, so we check the temperature of the sample. Then we see whether it is a like acceptable sample or not. It is not. It should not be clogged. If it is an EDTA or any anticoagulant labeling mild, right? So after checking the integrity and the volume of the sample, we just book the sample, book the patient's credentials very carefully, like the name of the patient in full, like the name and the surname should be there, and we just give the barcode on the wire, and the barcode should contain the name and the age and anything.
Proper detail
Yeah,
from the
date of
reporting.
patient, right? If there is any discrepancy of the name, we just call the patient.
Okay.
Okay, we don't wait for the last moment. And then when we are sure that we transfer the sample to the segregation department, there if there is any sample which requires centrifugation, it is subjected to that. Then different departments are allotted the sample depending on whether it's an EDTA sample, it is a heparin sample, or it's a citrate bio sample, or it's a serum sample.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the sample, as it is barcoded, it is done on the machine. The machine gives the report to the LIS. But here comes the part of the pathologist. After the report is given to the LIS, then the pathologist, he or she checks the report, on that. Like, we check the report and we clinically correlate the report. If the report is abnormal, we call the patient and we correlate the report clinically. And once we are satisfying with the clinical correlation, then only we go with the report. Otherwise, we ask for a repeat sample. Okay. So that is how it. So there's a lot behind the scene things going on. It is not only selecting the sample, putting in the machine, and giving it to the patient. There are a lot of minds, a lot of analysis which are going on, which sometimes the patient they don't realize.
Yeah.
Especially with the concept of uh, 2 घंटे में 3 घंटे में रिपोर्ट वाले जो आ
बॉडी चेक
कोई बॉडी चेकअप वाला जब आ गया है तो पेशेंट रियलाइज कि आप तो 2 घंटे में रिपोर्ट हो जाती है तो आप क्यों इतनी जल्दी नहीं देख
Yeah,
पा रहे?
because they feel it is all about machine work. Now they are not knowing the scene behind. It is not only machine.
Machine will only give you the numbers, the raw data. So to make those number important, valuable, clinically correlation is important, and that can be done by an expert, and that expert has to be a qualified pathologist, no more.
Agrees fully. Like everyone should understand this concept. Like reporting is not only machine job. There is science behind it, and experienced person should do, and pathologists are the right one to do that. So, as a pathology is often called a detective work. So, in your life, there are a lot of cases. One already you have shared. Recent one, any case which you have solved it, it felt like a mystery for you. Where yeah, this was a detective work which I have done recently.
So yes, actually we were like conducting a corporate health checkup.
Okay.
I won't name the company, but we, after taking the sample of the employees, we realized that there was one employee
Okay.
who was having high ESI and high CRP,
Okay.
like very high. So we had a conversation with that person by phone call, and he gave us the history of evening rise in temperature,
Yep.
mild rise in temperature, and weight loss. So we could make out it is like going towards tuberculosis.
Oh.
Okay. So I called that person in my setup and I examined. There was a lymph node in the neck. Lymph node guilty hota
Yeah,
है
yeah.
में, and we performed FLAC and it was a tuberculosis. So extrapulmonary tuberculosis was. So that was not the end to it. He was like given proper medical treatment, but as we all know that tuberculosis is a contagious disease. So if you are working in a workplace and you have tuberculosis, the other employees who are exposed to it might also get.
Might.
So we conducted those tests pertaining to tuberculosis in all the employees,
Okay.
and thankfully, fortunately, there was no other employee who was like falling
You know,
that
that is
suspicious, right? So that was like that time we became, as you
Yeah,
said,
that was a real detective work. It was a sample just for a teeth checkup, but that patient got to know that he is suffering from a serious disease. And now definitely it was the right time for him to go for the treatment, go for the diagnosis. This is how your role comes. Okay, sir. So that was really a inspiring detective story. So moving forward to our next segment, which will be what every patient should know. This section is mostly, it will be the most important for our conversation, especially for the patient and family who must be watching this. How should a common person choose the right laboratory? If a common man want to test a sample, for example, they want to test glucose, what should be a basic parameter which they should choose before going for all testing?
So this is what I always talk about. Um, so before deciding from where we should get tested, one should see that the lab is owned by a doctor. A doctor is full time present in it or not. Whether it is owned by a doctor or not, the doctor should be present.
Okay.
The doctor has to be a pathologist or biochemist who should be present for the whole time, for the maximum of time in the lab. Everything should be done in his supervision, because if a doctor is there, the SOPs will be in place. the quality procedures be in place. So that is a lab which all should go in. And that is a hyperlocal, usually a hyperlocal standalone pathologist driven lab. And so everyone should go to a lab which is run by a doctor.
Now, many people compare labs with prices. Like this lab is giving very short of package, other lab is giving little higher. So, is really the cheaper is better now the concept which people are comparing? So, is really you feel like in diagnostic industry cheaper is better, or what is your opinion on that?
So I won't agree with this point. I think rather than looking at it from this point of view, one should look at the quality.
Okay.
So I'm not saying the other way around, the expensive is better or the cheaper is better. I'm talking about one should, while choosing a lab, one should see whether the quality things are being exercised in the lab or not.
Okay.
So the staff should be very professional. The external quality scheme and the internal quality schemes are being followed. The doctor should be there and the doctor is approachable. All these things are way more important than the cheaper tests.
So, you don't agree with the concept?
Not at all. So one should not look at it from the cheaper point of view. कि मेरे को सस्ता मिल रहा है तो वहाँ पे चले जाता हूँ.
Ensuring the quality
Yes.
should be the priority.
And sometimes with all these things, not really cheaper, but the patient might get a good budget lab in all these things, with all these things. But cheaper is better is never the concept. It should not be the concept in healthcare.
Yeah, right. Because it is not only about reporting.
Yes.
It is about going to be further
Yes.
treatment.
It's the report is going to change your life, the course of
Yeah.
action.
One wrong report
Yes.
and one wrong medication. You have nothing, but you
Yes.
started a wrong medication.
Yes.
You can
And sometimes getting the cheaper test done from a lab might cost you more than getting it done from a expensive lab. If you get the wrong diagnosis, suppose.
Yeah, exactly. That is why I always say, especially in healthcare industry where we should never go with the price concept. Always go with the price with quality.
Yes.
That's the best thing. So, what are the biggest mistake one patient makes, sir, according to you, undergoing to a laboratory test? There might be, I'll just go with some options: fasting, medication, self-interpretation, timing. These are the four important perspective after this COVID. Most of the patients are doing. So, what's your opinion on this?
So most important is, as you said, that it is like patients, they don't fast for adequate uh, time.
Okay.
We say that it should be at least 10 to 12 hours for fasting, but sometimes the patient, they don't listen to us and the report goes beyond the normal range, and we are not able to help the patient because they have not taken the proper precaution. The pre-test precaution are the most important precaution. The pre-analytical errors are the most important error in a diagnosis. So along with that, the patient, sometimes they consume alcohol. We say that 48 hours, no alcohol before that is
Okay.
okay. Timing of taking the medication in some tests. And there are like many precautions pertaining to some important tests. The person should follow that precaution. And one other thing, sometimes the patient, they think that the report is like generated by machine. It is machine se to nikal raha hai report. To kar do na. So that is the wrong notion. They should also believe that if report is being given by the machine, but it is interpreted by a doctor. They should not be in a hurry to get the report. 1 घंटा wait कर लेंगे तो उससे कुछ चला नहीं जाएगा.
Yes, now this जो self interpretation वाला point है, that is more dangerous.
Yes, and also sometimes they like, now AI is coming, so they just put it every report in AI,
Yes.
ChatGPT, and then it comes like कि last में लिखा हुआ आता है कि you have got low TLC, it can be cancer. Then they call us कि sir, if तो cancer लिखा हुआ आ रहा है. So why we didn't ask them to put the report in Google or
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
okay. That is what I said. No? So now self-interpretation, earlier it was Google, but then people were not believing that much after the concept of AI.
AI.
It's have been difficult for us. So now let's move ahead, sir. We'll just discuss about the future of diagnostics. So if I ask you, where do you see Indian diagnostic in upcoming 10 years? What do you feel this will be the future of diagnosis in India?
So the future is really very bright. I think there will be more than like 10 to 40% growth in the coming decade in India. The reason being, after COVID, the people they have become so aware about the preventive health checkup, which as doctors we feel so nice. The people they are self-aware that they should get annual health checkup done for the their health, their partner's health, their family's health, their parents' health. I got call from outside India, and the patient wanted to book a health checkup for the parents staying in India.
No.
Right. So with this also this AI thing coming into play, along with automation, lab automation, along with molecular diagnostic, genomics. So India has a bright future in diagnosis.
It is going to be a growing decade for India.
Definitely.
That's good to know, sir. So, as you mentioned, AI, artificial intelligence. So, how you see AI as an opportunity or a threat?
No, never a threat. It's like it's a super opportunity for us as
Okay.
pathologists. I can say that those pathologists who are using AI, they have moved ahead of those who are not.
Okay.
Like, so it's not like a competition or replacement for us. It is, you can say, a co-worker with us. So we can work along with AI to be a better version of ourselves. So we should not see it as a threat.
Okay.
So AI is basically for report analysis, for the trend analysis, for becoming like for increasing the efficacy, for removing the error. But it can never replace the personal touch, the clinical correlation a pathologist can give. And AI always suggests, but a doctor always takes the responsibility of the diagnosis. But that is the difference between the AI and a doctor. They both work hand in hand.
AI is going to work, but it is not going to take place. What expert have the role never replace it.
So the competition is between the pathologists who are using AI versus the pathologists
Who's
who are
not. So now there is a trend of health checkup. So what one test you feel is now missing from a routine health checkup, and it must include that?
So again, a very good question. There are many tests that I feel like which are missing from a routine health checkup because I analyze the report on day-to-day basis. And I always feel whenever I see the patient support, these few tests should be included in the routine health checkup. But one test, if you ask me, should be HOMA, that is the insulin resistance test,
Okay.
which takes into account, which is a calculated parameter, which it takes into account the fasting insulin, fasting glucose, and it tells you about insulin resistance.
Okay.
Insulin resistance is a marker of pre-diabetes. So if you are insulin resistant right now and you've got normal HbA1c, normal your sugar, even then you are prone to get diabetes in future. Not only diabetes, it also predicts many other things. Like in young females, it's a predictor of it is a consequence of PCOD, polycystic ovarian disease, right? And along with that, it also predicts inflammation, stubborn weight gain. The person is not able to lose weight. So one parameter should be there in the routine health checkup is insulin resistance. Sometimes we are like very happy seeing our HbA1c report that it is within the range, but insulin resistance should be checked, should be less than T.
So you are saying it is equally important than HbA1c, or even more important if it's weight up. So I'm sure it should be a consideration for everyone to add in the health checkup. So now moving forward to our next section, sir. What advice would you like to give to young doctors who's planning to stabilize their own pathology setups now, as you are inspiration for them? So what would be one message you would like to give them?
So one thing that I want to tell them is they should start early. They should start their career of becoming a lab owner early because they say ki if you have risk taking appetite, it decreases with age. Once you are gone into the comfort of your job, whether private or government, it's very difficult to come back and start the journey at a later age.
Yeah, then you become comfortable what's going on.
Second thing is one has to analyze that whether you actually want to do pathology तो जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको lab खोलना You should. Because many of my juniors, they call me and ask me, sir, lab कैसे खुलता है, कैसे होता है? किसी से कुछ पूछने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you want to, ये अंदर से feeling आ रही है, I have to start, just start. And your clients will be your best teachers. They will tell you, the patients will tell you.
Yeah, with the time, different
But
cases.
feedback and information, and it will teach you to become a better version of better entrepreneur day by day.
Yeah, agree. So now we are in discussing about diagnosis, and companies plays a very important role because all the reasons machine which they are using. So what two major qualities you look for while selecting an IVD company before starting a new company? What are the qualities you look after?
I look after many qualities,
Okay.
but one thing that I look is the person who has come to me, and that person has to be like credible enough to provide me after sales service. So after sales service is very important for me. Not like कि अभी machine अच्छी अच्छी बातें करके machine लगा दी and person is lost.
Yeah, so you're not a believer of name. This company is having good name. let's
That
try.
comes afterwards. And I always try and give business to someone. So I thought I told you that I believe in giving. So I always try and give it to a newer person. Uh, like like I know that he's going to try his
Okay.
best to give the best service to me.
Exactly.
And like market reputation of the company, that these all are things like
Which
for
matters.
ambassador of it, which everyone.
But for you, first thing is the person, a
Person,
representative
yes,
who is visiting you.
Yes, the person, how good he is. I know that he's going to change his job after some time. Okay, but his belief in his product, right? The product and the company culture of the company, that also represents via that person.
I totally agree with you. So because companies are there, but for you, the major contact is the representatives. Okay, what would be one message you would like to give Indian IVD companies? What they can do better to support laboratories?
So Indian, like I told you before, that I belong to a standalone laboratory. I think that every person who is into sales and not in a particular company, whether I'm their client or not, they should make it a habit that they should visit the client. They should stay in touch with the client on a regular manner. If you are in touch with the client uh, के दिमाग में रहता है तो दिखता है वो दिखता है.
Yes, I do.
सो आपके दिमाग में तो आपके अप्लाई के दिमाग में आपको तो कभी भी कोई किसी को रेफर करना हो तो you are like one call away from me. I mean, that is the thing that I see lacking in many companies. That
Okay, that's
once,
their field presence.
yes, they don't come immediately. Even those companies who have like sold their equipments to me, I don't see the sales team coming in meeting the product.
They are happy with the business partners taking the business.
Yes. And along with that, they should be like updating their clients about the new products which they are launching. They should also extend their menu that I also suggested to you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. That was really a very nice advice. And let's move to our next section. It is going to be an interesting one. It's a rapid fire section where I will ask you a question. आपको जवाब देना है और maximum 2 seconds and it should be a quick. Okay, you're ready, sir?
Right.
Okay, that's great. So, what is one most underrated laboratory test?
Most underrated lab test would be pressure smear.
Okay. Biggest misconception about pathology?
That machines are given the report.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. One habit everyone should adopt immediately.
That would be like they should get the annual health checkup done, preventive health checkup.
That's a good one, sir. One quality you never compromise as Dr. Bamo.
I'm never actually in my lab.
Oh, that's a good one, sir. How can you explain AI in one word for pathology?
Empowering.
That's a good one. If not a pathologist, what you have become?
I would have been a chef.
Oh, that's a really interesting one. Like both is poles apart. That's a best choice. One advice for young entrepreneurs from your journey.
they should start taking risks and start early in their life.
Okay, that's really a good one. One message for every patient, what they should do.
They should go to a lab where a doctor is present. They should trust their pathologist.
Okay, excellent one. So now there is one final question for you before we conclude. I would like to ask one final question. After 20 years, if you want everyone to remember Dr. Vaibhav, what would you like your legacy to be? How people should know you, your especially your fraternity, your people, your patient, how they should remember you? What is your dream? Everyone have that dream.
I always had this vision and dream that um, I I should like serve the society, and by serving the society, I mean that my or everything, whatever work I'm doing, it should not only be like for paisa kaman. It should be like serving the society. The money is a byproduct. Okay. So I think that if we understand this, that we should first help our patients. We should give time to the patient. Automatically, by word of mouth, the business will come to be and they will make you popular. So your clients, your patients are your biggest assets, right? So I don't want me to be like known as a pathologist who ran his lab, opened multiple chain of labs successfully. I just want to be someone that patient they trust.
Okay.
And one more thing, I want my young pathologists to be very proud of this powerful branch.
Okay.
They should rely that a pathologist has a power. He is not someone who just signs the report. He is someone who analyzes the report, who talks to the patient, correlates it clinically, and who has most knowledge about this world of pathology and the lab test than anyone.
And please. And it
So,
was.
I
Pathologists are
just-
the backbone of any treatment.
Yes, I just want 20 years down the line, I just want to create this a culture in the Indian medicine that a pathologist should feel like I'm a powerful doctor.
I hope definitely everyone will consider this. And this was a really great message. And it was very nice talking to you. And we had a great discussion here. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and journey with us. It was really a nice podcast. And I'm 100% sure our viewers will get a lot of insights from this podcast. Once again, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.